Now we start the battle. 15 minutes between Scott Casey. He's the man in the short wrestling tights, and the man with the cast on the left arm is Tank Patton. A pair of men who are rivals. Scott Casey is the man who broke Tank Patton's arm in a match, and that arm has held a cast now for about 3 months. And as Scott Casey crashes him around, he proves that he can manhandle manhandle a Tank for sure. Referee in this match is Nick Kozak. This ought to be a solid battle, because before it's over, here are people who have a reason for wanting to manhandle each other, and Scott Casey that time just rolled right through, come up with the leverage, and if there is anything troubling Tank Patton's arm, you can bet that the grip he just put on there is going to be well felt. Even for a very short moment, the tremendous twist and leverage can be tough to take. Side headlock for the big Tank. But notice the big Tank massaging with that solid cast on that left arm. Veteran Nick Kozak handling this battle and trying to get on the side where he can see everything that's taking place. So Patton maneuvers around to drag Casey by the hair and manages to do it. We want to remind you that here at the Coliseum next Friday night, a whale of a card. Former World's Champion Terry Funk battling up against Wahoo McDaniel in the final event of the night. Former World's Champion Dory Funk Jr. taking on Billy Robinson, who is champion of the CWA. We have a battle between the world's junior heavyweight champion Chavo Guerrero and Eddie Mansfield. We have a tag team battle with Tully Blanchard and Gino Hernandez facing Tiger Conway Jr. and Scott Casey. We've got things going on aplenty next Friday night. Our ticket office, 1919 Caroline at the corner of Pierce, will be open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 8:30 in the morning until 4:30 in the afternoon. Tickets, reservations, and information. And Mr. JJ Sleep Shop, they've got their sale going on right now. So Scott Casey comes up with a hammerlock on big Tank Patton. And he works that hammerlock well, and he's working the hammerlock on the arm, which Tank Patton claims was injured, or is still injured, let's put it that way. The bone was broken, so it was injured, and Tank Patton couldn't change that. But he has done one thing, and that is to convince just about everybody that he still needs that cast. You saw what happened. He came around and belted him in the belly with that cast, belted him in the lower ribs too, and if you've ever had a cast on you, you know that it is impervious to hurt. It's like hitting with a hammer. So the Tank sets up Scott Casey, and Scott Casey comes off that rope with a driving kick in the face. Oh, the Tank just landed, and he sounded like a tank as he crashed to the canvas. I'll tell you, whether he was aptly named. Crotch hold, a lift, and a slam, and oh, how he came down there. He came down solidly, he came down hard. Casey's an aggressive wrestler. Casey's a Texan from the Panhandle. Again, the cast came around. The cast hit Scott Casey in the
5 minutes.
lower ribs and in the stomach. The 5-minute mark has been called in this battle, and the big tank drops in there to put that solid weight of his, knee first, into the area that he just recently softened up with the blow with the cast. So Casey still suffering from the blow that damaged him. Here's the Irishman just getting in there and trying to do something about it, and you can see what's happening. The swinging and the clubbing by Tank Patton, they've all been body blows, and those body blows have landed solidly and landed hard. Outside, Casey looking for a way into the ring without being mauled and kicked, and Patton making sure that he doesn't find it. He found a good spot that time. Oh, he laid that one in beautifully. And Casey now, as he catches it again, must certainly be fuzzy in that brain, because when those blows keep landing, and again, he come around there with that elbow, here's Patton looking to land on Scott Casey, and he landed. He landed solidly, he landed hard. There's one, there's two, and there is, no, he didn't make it. He got a knee up into the top of the head, and Scott Casey literally drove him off of him with that knee. You note Patton using his head in there. He knows that he has injured that arm. He wants to follow up on it. He wants to land some more telling wallops in there. And on our side, we can see it. The referee is checking things in front, and he is missing what's happening in back. A little hard to see on all sides. Nice to have a television camera that can look on one side and you're looking at the other. And Patton, as he pounds away at Casey, manages to soften up that arm and to lay it in there. He come along with a wallop right with that knee right along the jawbone. That's tough to take. Patton working Scott Casey over. Casey trying to headbutt his way out of this impasse at the rope. So big Tank Patton now is no bigger than that turnbuckle, and the turnbuckle has been brought up against his head, or vice versa, but he has met it in violent fashion. And the advantage of that cast is that he's hitting him in the joints, hitting him on the elbow when he can, sneaking one in there. Scott just put a blocker in there and got his own wallop in. A lot of solid give and take, mainly because these fellas are impatient with wrestling. They have a reason to pound each other into the canvas. The arm now wrapped around the rope again as Patton tries to follow up on what he did to the elbow. He was jamming his finger through the open portion of the turnbuckle, and now he is hitting away with the cast on his arm at that finger that he just injured in the turnbuckle. There's the pressure on the hand, the same one that he was working on just a few moments ago, and the same amount of pressure that he poured in there. 10 minutes have gone by. 5 minutes remain in this battle as Scott Casey finds himself in trouble. And the Tank wants to make him stay in that trouble. Somebody out in the audience said something to Tank Patton, which reflected on his ancestry, I think, but he didn't appreciate it. Driving that elbow in there. A tough character, this Tank Patton, a tough character. And Casey trying to recover from those blows in the midsection just a short time ago, and now as he gains a little bit more strength, going to work with other maneuvers that caught him, and this could be Casey's best moments to date. Now as Casey starts to follow up, Scott Casey caught on the back of the neck with a rabbit punch that time, and it looked to me like it was a deliberate wallop with the cast, and Nick Kozak has called for the bell, and he has disqualified Tank Patton.
11 minutes, 24 seconds. Referee Nick Kozak awards the match to Scott Casey.
So Patton looks like he is amazed that anything has been done like a penalty for using that cast, and he has already lost the match. He could lose it just one more time if Scott Casey blasts him with that boot. He caught him, drove it in the back of his head, and drove him up the aisle. And Patton, the Tank, kept going. So the winner on a disqualification is Scott Casey, and we'll be back here in a moment after we have this word from the studio.